The recession for 2024 has just been confirmed, although it's weird that officials from the Biden administration continue to deny that Americans are struggling. Like, are any of you guys struggling with your expenses right now? Some lawmakers have even gone so far as to suggest salary cuts for some White House staff, as they've supposedly been telling bold-faced lies to the American people every chance they get.
She also claimed that Biden's stimulus bill did not impact inflation. She also claimed that critical race theory, or its equivalent, isn't being taught in our schools. She also claimed that nobody has done more for the southern border, or our border in general, than Joe Biden. How can somebody with such a history of deceit continue to serve as the liaison for the president and the American people? The American people should not be forced to pay the salary of an individual who dispenses bold-faced lies to the American people while they foot the bill. And Ms. Jean-Pierre has also has a history of anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist rhetoric. For example, she called AIPAC racist and Islamophobic for supporting Israel. She wrote an op-ed that pro-Israel policies and values are not progressive values, which I think many of her Democratic colleagues even would contest. Mr. Speaker, I urge all colleagues to support this common sense amendment to use the Holman Rule to reduce Karine Jean-Pierre's salary, the White House press secretary, to $1, and with that I reserve.
Tell you what, should those in government office be held accountable for any and all lies that they tell us? I mean, seriously, right? I know it kind of sounds silly, and of course it's not going to go anywhere, but she raises a good point. An idea that people who are in office, public officials who serve the public, that's us, should be held accountable for their words and their actions. Because it honestly feels that we don't see that as much as we should. But what do you guys think? Should there be a law where government officials, no matter how high or low they are in the chain of command, will be ousted or at least fined if they're caught lying? Comment a quick yes or no on that one. And while you guys are at it, smash the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel. Make sure your notification bell's turned on. You guys don't want to miss out on any crucial updates. Appreciate that, guys. So since we're already talking about layoffs, let's talk about how the 2024 recession will most probably feature job cuts of epic proportions. And to be honest, guys, just this year alone, we've already seen quite a few of them. Am I right? I mean, if we totaled the layoffs for 2023 alone, you would get thousands upon thousands of jobs that have been lost.
Some major tech companies have announced another round of job cuts. Google, Amazon, and Snap are among the companies continuing to downsize. KTVU South Bay reporter LaMonica Peters live now in Mountain View at Google headquarters with more on this latest round of layoffs. LaMonica.
Julie, the analysts I spoke with say these companies are simply evaluating their bottom lines, and the job cuts that they are having right now are simply to shore up their companies and to make sure that they are still making their profits.
The data that's come out has shown that the tech industry has been laying off people really pretty aggressively.
Google, Amazon, Snap, and Zillow say they're making more cuts to their workforce. Neither Google nor Amazon disclosed how many jobs were being cut this time. Tech reporter and analyst Ian Scher says the cuts are most likely continuing fallout from the pandemic.
The way the economy has worked has shifted a lot over those last 4 years. We've seen inflation come up. Now we've seen it start going down. We've seen interest rates going up, all of these types of things. So it is somewhat part of the natural cycle to see layoffs in some companies.
Amazon's most recent layoffs will affect employees in Europe, Latin America, and North America. This is also the fifth round of job cuts for Google since September and the third round of cuts for its parent company, Alphabet.
The 9-county Bay Area lost, almost 17,000 jobs last month, which was the, worst job loss we saw, monthly job loss we saw since Omicron hit in late 2020, early 2021.
Both Snap and Zillow are also cutting about 24 jobs from their workforce. Royce says interest rates are at a 22-year high and companies will continue to make cost-cutting decisions.
This is also one of the reasons why some experts are saying that a recession will be almost impossible to refute for next year.
The level of unemployment over the course of the last 6 months is up 15%. We've never had that type of change without a lead into recession. And so I think what we're doing is we're morphing from phase one of the unemployment rate increase, which is this gradual move higher off the lows, to phase two, where you start to see more precipitous increases. And I think the recent data are dovetailing with that. Look at the warn notices, these notices that companies have to give to states when they're going to do mass layoffs, leads by 60 days in terms of the unemployment stuff. That really, I mean, it went very high in August. It just got revised up for September. We've seen material increase in layoff announcements over the course of the last year. We've seen much lower retail hiring this year than last year, which was already a very weak year, right? So I think you have a lot of pieces in place that are telling you that we're into the late cycle, early recession phase of the unemployment rate backdrop.
We're going to get to a time where no job is untouchable, where everyone's going to feel the slight panic whenever company announcements are made. I mean, it's going to be really bad for a lot of folks out there who pretty much just straight up ignored all the warning signs that I've been sharing over the past several months. Now, they also talk about something that I've been saying for like months now, because it's so obvious when we're being lied to by the powers that be.
And I'm surprised. I didn't realize unemployment was up 15%. Did you know that, Mark?
Yes, we've gone from what, 3.4 all the way up to 3.9 now over the course of the last, 3 to 6 months. So that's a pretty substantial move, but when we talk about just, I guess the smoke and mirror headline jobs numbers, I mean, according to the Biden administration, we've added 1.234 million jobs since April of this year. However, when you look at the actual employed workforce, we only have another 190 people actually working over the course of that entire time frame. We are losing full-time jobs. We're picking up part-time jobs, multiple job holders at an all-time high. So it doesn't look good when you look at the composition.
What did I tell you, folks? It's not just me that's seeing the magic that's being done with the job numbers. Magic that continues to be revised down because, well, I'm not even sure where they're finding the optimism to report positive numbers when American consumers are feeling anything but positive. Which now brings me to Jeffrey Gundlach, a billionaire businessman who's saying that, yes, we're headed into a recession by 2024.
We have a massive problem that's coming, that we're staring down because of the low interest rates being in place for so many years, almost a decade, and now the Fed being higher for longer. And this is happening also to small businesses who used to pay 4%, and now they're paying 9 or even 12%. Which is obviously another problem if we're higher for longer, because a lot of people can bridge a gap of temporary inflated interest expense, but not if we're going to be higher for longer. So my belief is that we're going to be in recession. If we're not already in recession, we'll probably be in a recession by the second quarter of 2024.
But I have to ask, why is the distance between these experts who are giving us the numbers about why we're probably heading into a recession so far from what the White House and the Biden administration is telling us? I mean, I'd really like to know, because at this point, somebody's lying, right? But of course, there's always a way out. The positive numbers that are shown don't tell the whole story. It's like what was said a hot minute ago. There's a lot of folks in the country who are working more than one job, meaning that they're probably counted as 2 jobs, even though only one person's taking them on. Now, the only way we know things are going wrong is because we're on the ground. We're boots on the ground. We are the ones that are going out to buy food, pay for energy, and all those other things, right? And while some of us are lucky to not have to worry about what money we're going to use for our groceries and bills, some Americans aren't quite so lucky. So what do you guys think? Do you see it the same way as our leaders do? That things are now on the up and up and that we should celebrate how inflation has gone down in recent months? Or is this more of a celebration of fixing something that was never broken until they came into the picture? Let me know down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for liking the videos. Thanks for being here. Thank you for subscribing. And I'm going to see you guys on the next video.